everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I have a very special guest. I'm so happy that Cheryl is finally on my channel. She's Cheryl from NonStopParis. She talks a lot about minimalism. She lives in Paris right now. She moved from England to Paris, so she talks a lot about life in Paris as well, and she has such amazing content. You guys definitely need to go check that out. She's so funny as well. She's amazing, so go check that one out. I'm super inspired by Cheryl, especially through her minimalism, and I think that's just such an inspiring topic because I feel like it can help you in so many ways to bring you forward in life and to, you know, make your dreams come true. That's what I love talking about on my channel, and I love that Cheryl came with me here today to talk about minimalism a little bit, to maybe inspire you guys as well to take on minimalism and or like just lead a more minimalistic lifestyle and live with less and see what it can bring you and how you can maybe get forward with your life with that. Cheryl told me she has some amazing stories, or a story.
Well, it's an interesting story,
yeah.
I'd say. Yeah.
So I thought you could just share that with us and give maybe 1 or 2 or 3 tips that you feel like any beginner could do to get forward with minimalism.
Yeah. So I discovered minimalism through a kind of semi-traumatic experience, I would say. So I didn't really grow up with a load of money, and then I started working and I went to university. So I had money coming in through my job or coming in through my student loan, which already sounds like a terrible idea, right? But I had money coming in for like really the first time in my life, and I was surrounded by a lot of very rich people at university. Like I was surrounded by people, you know, from all walks of life, but mainly just quite wealthy people, and I felt like I needed to like keep up with the Joneses because I felt like the outsider to a certain extent, and it really started to create a bit of a vacuum, like a vacuum in my soul in terms of like I always felt like I would be more accepted, I would be able to, people would like me more if I had this or had that, and it really kind of snowballed from there. And I suffered with a lot of depression my whole life, but especially in university I had quite a bad like bout of it, and I also turned to shopping to bring myself out of that. It was a way to get me out of the house because I spent a lot of time just at home like moping basically, and then I also found that shopping really gave me like a rush, and also like this promise of, you know, people would like me, or like I would be able to represent myself in a way that people would react positively to.
Did you maybe feel like if you bought a certain clothing or a bag or something that you would look more fashionable or something like that would make you more likable?
Yeah, there was that, and also I just didn't want to be seen as like the poor girl or like the I don't know, like there were a lot of different factors that came together which meant that it resulted in a bit of a shopping addiction, and I look back at this now and I just feel kind of ashamed and also kind of, I don't know, just so full of regret because it's really affected my whole life up until this point. So I've spent most of my adult life in some form of debt because I really like dug myself into this huge hole of using, because the thing is I used all my money, like any kind of money I had left over for my student loans, and considering I didn't have, my parents didn't pay anything towards my university, so my student loan was really supposed to pay for me to live and to eat, but I would always prioritise like terribly. So, and anything else that I wanted, I would always like stick it on my credit card, like because you always get like a student credit card. So I got into this kind of debt hole basically, and like a debt culture, which I think we kind of live in now, in terms of like you don't necessarily have to be rich to buy a lot of stuff. No, you can just use loans or credit cards, or, you know, people don't necessarily, you know, save up anymore. I don't think that's part of our culture, so we all buy something and deal with the consequences later, and you're always paying for something that you have already enjoyed or a trip you've already been on. Like my friend Sarah Nash, she always says this in her videos, like you're paying for something that you've already enjoyed in the past, and it doesn't feel as satisfying as, you know, saving up and then parting with that money for something that you've really intentionally saved for, and or, you know, that you've been wanting to do for ages. So I got into this terrible spiral basically of just buying and buying and buying, and I you know, it started to make me worse, and it started to make my depression much worse, and I ended up buying more and more. I actually bought a car.
Wow,
on finance. But yeah, there was just like no end to the things that I just bought, and it wasn't with money that I had. It was terrible. So it actually got to a stage where my depression got quite bad, and I actually went to the doctors about it, and I was assessed for bipolar disorder. I don't have bipolar disorder, but I had like severe depression at this time. And it was then really that I started to discover minimalism almost by force, because I started to get treated for my depression, and you know, my doctor even said to me, you know, you have a real problem with money, like with spending, and you need to start to think about other things that you can do that are more positive to deal with what the emotions that you're dealing with. So he recommended like working out. So more like activity-based things to replace the shopping that I've been doing, which not only used up all my money, but also so much of my time was spent on, like, either looking for the next thing to buy, thinking about the next thing to buy. Like when you're in a shopping addiction, it really feels like you're either buying or you're thinking about the next thing to buy. Like it's pretty terrible. But yeah, so I started to really, I had to be snapped out of it in the end, and I'm really super grateful for that. It sounds like a really dramatic intervention, which I'm not sure many other minimalists who have had a lot of trouble with shopping before have had. I feel like I have the pretty extreme experience.
Sometimes you need that though.
So then I started looking a lot more into saving money to try and repair a lot of the damage that had happened. And I actually stumbled across a couple of YouTube channels who speak about saving money and also minimalism. Zoe was actually one of them. So yeah, a couple of people like that who spoke about minimalism, and it really struck a chord with me because it really started to undo a lot of the bad habits that I had built up over so long. You know, the fact that, you know, you're going to get happiness or you're going to get some kind of fulfillment out of a thing. Because it never ever works that way, and trust me, I've bought everything from the designer handbags to the Audi.
They don't make you happy.
I mean, we've got to laugh about it now, because otherwise you just cry. But
of course,
it's, you know, I've pushed my limits to the absolute maximum in terms of trying to find some kind of fulfillment from buying stuff or from like possessions, and it just absolutely doesn't work. So I really, it's not like it was news to me, because it makes so much sense, but seeing other people flourish in this kind of what to me would have been a like suppression of your desires, is actually it's actually so refreshing. And people looking at other things, like so many other things that you can do instead to bring yourself fulfillment. Like, for example, I'd always wanted to travel, but I would just never have money to travel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so now, you know...
Now you travel all the time.
Yeah, so I'd quite happily part with cash to go on a nice trip. But, you know, back then I wouldn't have it, because I would have spent that on a pair of shoes that would just go stuck in my cupboard. And,
I know, right?
You know, it's like a reprioritization of how you spend your money, and also, you know, a lot of the money, or really now if I buy something, it's with the money that I actually have and have saved, and it's just so much more satisfying that way. And
you're not dealing with the constant stress of being in debt and just feeling like you want and need something the whole time. Wow. So where are you now in your life? Like, how has minimalism like really helped you? I mean, I've got a really different perspective in terms of the source of my happiness and the source of where I can find fulfillment. But yes, I've really managed to refocus my, like, where I put my energy, be that time, money, and I feel like now I can really focus, and I've got a real like a better idea of what really makes me happy, and whether that's, you know, traveling, because that was something that I always saw would be far in my future, something I could never really do like right now, but just by having like fewer bits and bobs in my house that you just have to clean more anyway, I'm able to redirect that money and that time into something that really matters to me. Also, I feel like, you know, in my house, it was I just had so much stuff that you do lose track of what you have. So now I just know that everything in my wardrobe, it fits me, I like it, it makes me feel good, and I don't have to make such, you know, rifle through
through so many options to like get dressed in the morning, and that's just one example of
definitely
of how. I mean, I'm pretty sure Zoe calls it decision detoxing.
Yeah.
Like you just make things simpler.
Exactly.
On your day-to-day basis. Like the amount of decisions, like tiny little decisions you make throughout the day is reduced so much. And even just that has been an amazing shift.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I asked you yesterday, this is why I wanted to talk to Cheryl about this, or I wanted her to share this story, is I asked her if she feels like minimalism has brought her to the point of life where she is today. And I'm actually meeting Cheryl for the first time live today, and she, in her video, she's so amazing, and she has such a positive vibe, but you know, you meet her and you just radiate happiness and just positive person. So I feel like that's amazing.
Definitely made me a lot more chilled, a lot less worried about my future. I see things, you know, I'm able to actually see where I can be and where I can develop, and I can actually start to make plans for the next 6 months, 12 months, even longer, based around the things that really matter to me, rather than just, you know, where I can get that quick fix now.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's really it's cool.
I really totally agree with you, and I never call myself a minimalist, but yeah, I totally feel like ever since I stopped putting my energy into shopping, because I would say I was a borderline shopaholic, because I would go shopping every day if I could. Like if I would go past the shop, I would go inside, and if I saw something I liked, I bought it because I had the money to. But I also never had time to travel, or I knew I wanted to start a business, and whoa, like hell no was there ever going to be a time that I have enough money to start my own business, because I was spending just so much, and I never would have any left in the end of the month.
Yeah, like paycheck to paycheck life. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
So as much as you know, I loved fashion and everything, and you can still love fashion even if you are a minimalist, but you just have a different perspective to it as well. So definitely having less, you know, it's kind of a decision detox at the same time. That's how I would describe my journey to minimalism as well. It's just I have less decisions every day, every morning. I don't have to look at 100,000 pieces of clothes and think of what I would wear, or I just know where everything is in our apartment, and we don't have a lot of stuff in our apartment, which makes me feel like I can breathe, and you know, it's actually a zen area. So definitely agree with you. And I think your story is so inspiring, Cheryl.
Thank you, Kia.
What kind of minimalist would you call yourself? Like, I feel like this is one thing that scares people sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I was quite entry-level minimalist. So I'm not like super extreme. You know, if I really do want to buy something, if I need something for a trip, or you know, something that I use all the time breaks, I'm quite happy to replace it, for example. And I don't feel like I want to make, for me it's not about buying less now. Like I've got to the stage where I've done that whole detox period where you know, you do the decluttering and everything. Now I'm in the stage of, you know, my life is, how do I maximize my life? You know, because the money that I'm probably even spending now more than I was 6 months ago when I was going through that detox period, but now it's like I can funnel that into stuff that's really exciting, and that's you know, like traveling, for example. In terms of what you were saying about people being worried about minimalism or finding it super what's the word, intimidating, is that, you know, you don't have to be this extreme. And a lot of the time the things that you see on Instagram or Pinterest, like kind of Pinterest minimalism, isn't really what it's all about. You know, you can wear bright yellow from head to toe every day. You don't have to be in black and white, or you know, in that stereotype. You have to really see it as something that's going to help you, and like everyone says this on YouTube, but like a tool to get you to where you want to be. And not everyone's where you want to be is the same and needs to look the same. So don't be intimidated, and don't feel like you have to conform to any stereotypes. Just you know, look at what other people have been able to achieve through minimalism, and think about whether that's something that would benefit you as well, or you know, how you can use it in a slightly different way to get to where you want to be.
Definitely. I think that's the biggest takeaway you guys should take from here, because I don't call myself a minimalist, or I don't make a lot of minimalism videos. I used to do them when I was decluttering our apartment, which was amazing, but I don't think there's a certain way that you have to be a minimalist. It's about focusing on what you absolutely love, what truly brings you joy and happiness, that makes you smile, and that which you know long term will bring you to the place you want to be.
Yeah,
you know?
Not everyone wants to live out of a backpack and live in a hut.
No, exactly. No, I have audacious dreams, I would say, but through a sort of minimalist lifestyle, I feel like I'm gonna get there quicker, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. So thank you so much, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Guys, definitely go check out her channel, and she has a lot of content on minimalism, which I feel is going to be so valuable for you guys. So go check that out.
And I try and make it super accessible as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love that about your minimalism videos.
Thank you.
They're so relatable, and I feel like they help me like the most. So it's definitely amazing. So thank you, Cheryl, and thank you for joining me on my channel. I'm going to link all of Cheryl's links down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel down below. And I'm super excited to see you guys in my next video, and go check out Cheryl's channel also for our collab that we made on her channel. Bye bye. Bye bye.